I'm Rich Slayton, joined by Donna Gonzalez to call this 145-pound affair between Ardany Oliva and Mason Iacobellis. Mason on his way to the cage right now. The 18-year-old stands 5 feet 6 inches tall. The righty making his debut with Team Quest.
Team Quest, we like them. Good guys coming out of their team. Obviously, you know, going to be well-rounded fighters. He's well-rounded. He played high school football. He's still young. He's going to have serious energy, I'm assuming. Great cardio. You know, he was a defensive back, so he was constantly moving, constantly running, hitting. It's not going to be a surprise, you know, that I doubt we'll see him get tired in this fight.
The explosiveness, definitely. You know, interesting note, he has no real wrestling background. Team Quest, a team generally known for being wrestling first fighters.
So, yeah, I would imagine, even though he doesn't have a wrestling background, training with Sam Alvey and Team Quest, he's got to have some kind of wrestling training.
Absolutely, although we have seen the evolution.
His opponent, making his way to the cage, Ardany El Orgullo de Guatemala Oliva.
Across from Mason edge the cage is Ardany Oliva. The 22-year-old from Lawndale, California, stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, fighting with Systems Training Center.
Systems, another team that we love here at the U.
Coached by the very sharp Ian Harris.
Yes, great strategist. Always good fighters coming in. Ardany has, you know, great head and foot movement. I think what he needs to keep in mind in this fight is he's only got 2 minutes to work.
Well, he told me before the fight that, quote, this is going to be my best performance because I've trained too hard for this dang fight.
All right, well,
I didn't come all this way to lose.
Let's do it.
You know, one thing we saw in his previous fights, great lateral movement, very evasive, sound striking defense, but you were talking about being a little slow to pull the trigger.
He is. He's looking for those shots, which I'm not saying is a bad thing.
But in 2-minute rounds, very challenging.
You need to make those decisions really, really quickly. You need to close that distance. You need to make an impression because you don't have too much time to show respect and pick your shots.
Well, interesting note here, very powerful takedowns, some judo from Oliva, trained in jiu-jitsu under Pedro Munoz against Mason Iacobellis, who has that high school football background, explosive athlete, you know, very high on-field IQ, great vision, hits very hard. The question is, has he built up, at 18 years old, this wrestling defensive skill set to hold off a guy like Oliva?
You know, I don't know. Oliva is, am I wrong? Is he a blue belt?
Looks like he might be a white belt, but maybe he'll get promoted tonight with a big win. Let's get things kicked off inside the cage with Salvador Arellano.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Our next fight of the evening is brought to you by Every Bit, the live storytelling app, scheduled for 3 2-minute rounds in the featherweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a Muay Thai and wrestling practitioner making his debut. He stands at 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighed in at 145.2 pounds. Representing Team Quest from Marietta, California, Mason Iacobellis. And his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. He comes to this fight with a record of no wins and 2 losses. He stands at 5 feet 7 inches tall and weighed in at 145.2 pounds. Fighting with Systems Training Center from Lawndale, California, Ardany El Orgullo de Guatemala Oliva. Man in charge of the action, Franklin Aguirre.
3 2-minute rounds on the way in this featherweight affair between Mason Iacobellis and Ardany Oliva. Mason in the blue corner. Sorry, Mason in the red corner. I was right the first time.
Right.
Mason in the blue corner, Ardany in the red.
Going for that takedown really, really hard. Oh my goodness, grabbing.
Looks like Ardany might be all the way under.
No, he's in half guard, and which is it's a lot harder to finish the guillotine when he's out, so it doesn't matter.
Mason on top, staying heavy.
And he's in a position where he could, if he can get his arm on top of Ardany's arm, he can get a Darce, Japanese necktie. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do from there that he can get from half guard. But he's doing a really good job controlling Ardany's head right now. And staying on top, he's looking to pass.
Ardany almost has the full guard
Yeah, if he can get his
replaced.
leg out, he's going to try and full guard. But those shin guards get in the way.
Mason now possibly looking for a guillotine here against the cage. Just passing the halfway mark in this first round.
He's doing a great job with that heavy hips and staying really heavy on
You've got 50 seconds.
Mason looking for a possible standing arm and guillotine. Let's go. Now content to punish the body.
Let him get that single.
that single leg. Nice. That was a great reversal.
Control the head. There you go.
Mason's hips, though, very, very well
Incredibly
controlled.
great hit.
There you go. Change levels. Drive into him.
Mason is loving that guillotine position.
You know, we were concerned about the lack of grappling pedigree of Iacobellis.
Yeah, I don't think we need to be too worried. But Oliva with a nice takedown at the end. That was good.
Might be too little too late for this round, but at least it does show that he can move the direction that
Absolutely.
he wants to in the second.
You know, I just think that he got stuck under those hips of Iacobellis for a lot of the first round. Like we said,
I think you said it earlier today, and thank you for leaving me out on the wire.
I believe in team wrestling.
Iacobellis unbelievably sticks in this fight, but don't forget that not only is Ardany Oliva experienced, he's already had 2 fights under his belt, but he has a very, very smart corner behind him.
Absolutely.
So let's see what changes Ian Harris has cooked up here for his young fighter going into round number 2.
Are we staying standing or are we going to the ground?
That's going to be a big question here. Does Oliva think that he can turn the tables on the ground, or does he want to keep this thing standing and show what his hands and feet can do? He did open up the first round with a couple of kicks.
Right. Punches, no kicks is what Ian Harris is saying.
Right hand lands from Mason.
Keep him in the cage. He's scared of that shot. He's scared of that shot.
Nice.
And now here we are.
Up against the cage.
Mason pressuring.
It's okay. Get him out the cage.
Slam for Iacobellis. Landed on his back, I think.
I didn't see it.
Excellent escape here from Oliva.
Man, both of them just looking really good. Oh, there's that guillotine. If he can get his head in. His arm, excuse me. Which is
Mason
back to
all
good.
about that neck.
Yeah, he really is.
Some knees to the belly. Those things can really change a fight.
Yeah.
Young and strong.
Young and strong, but Ardany's doing a great job pulling guard and not letting Mason control.
About 40 seconds left in the second round. Maybe Ardany here is looking to...
Looks like he might be trying to go for an armbar. If he
Possibly
can
out of the
get his
cage
leg
there.
at, yeah, if he can get his leg around Mason's head.
You gotta wonder, with how heavy Mason's been throughout this fight.
And those hips.
Yeah, oh, that leg almost all the way around, but
Yeah. Oh, there he goes. If he can get his head all the way across his face, he has a chance for an armbar right there.
Mason, though, keeping him stacked at the moment.
Which is exactly the way you want to defend
Right
that.
back up, okay. Just swing, buddy. Just swing. Swing. Swing, Mason. Push him off and get up, Ardany. Push him up and get up.
A little bit of trash talk there
A little bit.
from Ardany Oliva there at the end.
Oh,
He
yeah, he just
looked at me, he's like, yeah, I did.
great.
Much better on it. I love
So this
the
can be a really
shots.
kind of frustrating fight, especially for someone who feels like they have a lot of energy, they're ready to go. When someone gets on top of you and gets suffocated, stifling with that grappling, they can get really frustrated, as we might have seen when Paul Bailey punched Josh Koscheck? that Paul Daly punched after their fight? Am I calling this one right? In the UFC, Josh Koscheck had wrestled Paul Daly, hit him on his back the entire fight. Paul Daly gets up and punched him right after the fight was over. That's how he got cut from the UFC.
Oh, I guess I totally missed that, which is weird.
That's how frustrating that can be.
Well, that's why they call it a grinding style.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? You get grounded in the ground. It's frustrating and you don't like it.
And there's Oliva telling us he's going to
Oliva
wrestle me all day. I expect to see the hands go. This is a fired up young fighter here in the red corner.
Yeah, he is.
Third round. Will Mason dictate where the action takes place, or will Oliva start throwing those fists?
Foul from Oliva.
Whoa, big wheel
Back
kick from
There goes
Mason.
Oliva for the single leg.
You gotta wonder, for an 18-year-old who doesn't seem to have any previous wrestling experience, where Mason developed these skills so quickly.
I think he walked into Team Quest and they were like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to work guillotines all day.
All day.
There's knees to his belly. He's wide open.
Big knee
Wide open.
from Oliva.
Oh, nice.
So much power from Mason Iacobellis. And, you know, a lot of that might be that wrestling explosiveness. They do so many drills, get able to explode from a dead stop.
Yes.
Got a minute to go.
And Ardany doing a great job keeping his knee up. There he goes. He's going to get to his knee and he's going to escape.
Control the arms. Sit out. Sit out. Sitting out. Open up on him. Get your hand free. Stand up, Ardany. Control the end. Keep your weight back. Don't let him go in for that
Oliva
single.
looking to stand up, making his way to his feet.
Those hips.
Go, Ardany. You got to do something, buddy.
Big knee again.
Standing combinations. Come on.
Those will start to add up.
Put it on the wall.
45 seconds left in the final round.
And Oliva going for the guillotine.
Let's go, Ardany. Get that guard back. Get your half guard.
Mason
Get
with
your
his
half guard.
dump.
Go to his back. Go to his back. There. Lock your hands up. Go
Nice.
back and sweep.
Shout out J-Tan's sense of humor.
30 seconds. Go to the head. Go to the head. Go to his back and sweep. 30 seconds. Let's go. Let's go. Posture up,
Is he
sir.
going for?
Mason might be looking to pass.
Let's go, Ardany. You got to work. You got to work. He's not going to work, so you're going to have to.
Pulling full guard.
He's going to lay here. Posture up. You have 15
Only
seconds.
15
Oh, there he is.
seconds
Going
left.
for armbar again.
Could Oliva have the
he's gonna
arm?
Break it, Ardany. Go, 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 go. 10 seconds. You got it.
You hear the corner, Ian Harris from Ardany's corner. Break it, break it.
Good. No time. No time. Spin through.
Oh, that was exciting.
Ardany very sharp there
Yes.
in the last moments to find that arm bar.
Those arm bar
Just
attempts
could
were
not
fantastic.
escape the heaviness
Yeah.
of Mason Iacobellis.
Oliva not happy.
Tough, frustrating fight.
It is.
And here's going to be the most frustrating at the end, is when he goes home tonight and he goes, I feel fine.
Right.
I don't feel hurt. I don't
Right.
feel beat up. I don't feel bruised.
Of course not, because you didn't get punched in the face a whole bunch of times. Basically, you feel like that in practice.
And that's probably the most frustrating thing when you fight a fight like that.
Absolutely. Because these guys want to come in and go to war, but grinding, in a sense, is a war in itself.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is not an easy thing to do. Don't make any mistake about it.
Here's the scary thing to think about. A guy who, in Mason Iacobellis, who didn't have a wrestling background, who is only 18 years old, who's already that nasty as a wrestler, who already has that base and knows that he can control a fight in that way. Now start stacking up the rest of the skill sets on top of that.
Right.
As his experience, this is a debut fighter.
Oh.
As his experience grows with that base,
Absolutely.
that's a frightening
That's
development.
a scary guy.
You know, I'm gonna have to ask Mason Iacobellis after this if maybe
About
there
his
was a little, if there's some wrestling experience was left off the resume.
Maybe on the football field they did some kind of
He's
takedown.
like, oh, no,
and-
our football training was just called wrestling practice. I don't know if you guys know it's a new football cross-training thing we do.
We would take the football and we would take it down and lay on it.
Really, really tough. And we did get to see Mason open up with the strikes a little bit here and there.
Yes.
Definitely a guy who can do damage. I think the sky's the limit for this young fighter.
Absolutely.
Let's find out how the judges see it inside the cage with Salvador Arellano.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges score the fight the same, 30-27, for your winner by unanimous decision. Out of the blue corner, Mason Iacobellis.
All right, I'm here with your winner, Mason Iacobellis. Mason, how's it feel to get the win?
Tiring.
Very tired again. Mason, did anything surprise you about your opponent coming in here?
No, not really. But he looked like an aggressive striker, so I wanted to take him down.
Now, you had a couple huge slams in there, but he also had a couple submissions locked in on you. How close were you to being stopped there with that armbar?
Not even close.
You looked very composed all throughout. Is there anybody you'd like to thank for this fight?
My mom for doing everything for me and supporting me.
Now, this is your debut here at the U. What can we look forward to seeing more from you?
Good fights. That's about it.
Good fights. He's coming for that title. You heard him, ladies and gentlemen. Well, great fight. We got hats off to you and your opponent. Give it up for Mason Iacobellis, ladies and gentlemen.
Your winner by unanimous decision, Mason Iacobellis.